Welcome to Deconstructed. I'm the Maven, and I'm glad you're here with me today. We've got lots of news headlines coming up. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe on all the social media. It's at the Maven 2017 on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Periscope. All right, let's get started with the weather. At least for Cambodia, the next week is going to be extremely heavy rain due to a low pressure system in the South China Sea that is moving toward us. So be prepared for that. There's already areas with flooding, and so more flooding could occur. So prepare yourself. All right, and let me mention that on Monday, October 15th, is the King Father Commemoration Day. Used to be here in Cambodia, we had about 3 holidays, his coronation and his birthday and another one. And so since he passed away, we've put them together into one commemoration day, and that's on Monday. So it is a public holiday. Banks won't be open. Alrighty. So news headlines. Well, this is Friday the 13th, and what better to think about with superstitions than vampires? And unfortunately, in Malawi, in Africa, they have mobs that are going around killing people that they believe to be vampires. It's so serious that the UN has actually pulled out all its personnel from the area until things calm down. Also number 2. Here's Brexit. Brexit has been in the news all week, and all I'm going to say about it is it's a big mess. All right. Next, we've got a shooting that happened in Sweden in a marketplace. However, they're saying it is gang violence that occurred and not terrorism. Then also really big in the news this week is Harvey Weinstein. Now, he's a huge producer in Hollywood, launched the careers of many, many A-list stars, and he is in big trouble because he's finally gotten caught with regard to pedophilia and rape, and I mean, a lot of women are coming out. I've heard some men also possibly as boys. So I mean, it just keeps unraveling, and if you don't know what the word pariah means, he has become a pariah. Everyone is staying away from him. Everyone is distancing themselves from him. He's lost his job. He's lost his prestige. He's lost everything. And people cannot get away from him fast enough, except for Donna Karan. Now, Donna Karan, the fashion designer, has defended him, and because of that, she has now also become a pariah. Everyone is boycotting her clothes. Her stocks have gone down. Not good for Donna Karan. Even if she changes her tune, it's too late. All right, the Philippines. Duterte, he's been having his crackdown on drugs and crime in his country, which has become kind of bloody because they go out and they kill the drug dealers. Well, some of the EU countries are not happy with that and have been making statements, and he's just flat out said, look, you guys keep your nose out of my business, or within 24 hours I'll expel all of your ambassadors. So I'll have to see what happens with that. He didn't actually make a 24-hour threat. He was just saying that he was threatening that he could do that within a 24-hour period. Moving over to Myanmar, you know that Aung San Suu Kyi has been taking a lot of flack for her silence and not standing up for the Rohingya refugees who are fleeing the Rakhine state in Myanmar. Now, most of Myanmar calls the Rohingya, they refuse to use the word Rohingya, they use the word Bengali because they think that they're basically Bengali illegal immigrants and terrorists rather than an ethnic minority. Well, Aung San Suu Kyi has finally moved in the direction of she has made a speech calling for unity within the country and formed a committee to address the situation. So we'll see what happens. UNESCO has chosen a new leader. That's Audrey Azoulay, a former French culture minister. And this is at a time when the U.S. has actually pulled out of being a UNESCO member. So interesting to see what might develop there. Hurricane Ophelia. So we've already had like Harvey and Irma and Maria and Nate. Well, Ophelia has formed as a tropical storm, but it's not heading to the U.S. and Florida. It's heading to the U.K. So how weird is that? It's probably going to only make it to a Category 1 hurricane, and it actually has happened before, like in 2011 and 2005, and guess what? Those hurricanes had the same name, Ophelia. Can't make that up. Talk about coincidence. That is just friggin' weird. Okay. Also with nature, we've got fires going on in California, all over California, but one of the biggest is in Napa Valley, Sonoma County. This is an area where there's a lot of wineries. If you've got certain bottles of wine, they're going to be worth a lot of money because the wineries are gone. And also Charles Schultz, the creator of Peanuts, of Snoopy and Charlie Brown, his home was completely destroyed. Now there is a, not library, but like a museum, and those artifacts are safe, but all of the artifacts that were in his home burned to the ground, gone. So, if you have original Peanuts memorabilia, that might be going up in value as well. But a few people have died. It's really bad. I actually have an aunt and some cousins that live in the area, so I'm watching that. Volcano in Japan erupted, flooding in Vietnam, lots and lots of natural disasters going on. Trump, now, talk about storms. He made a comment saying, right now is the calm before the storm. And everybody's speculating on what does he mean by that. Is he talking about action going on in North Korea? Is he talking about information about the Las Vegas shootings coming out? Is he talking about something completely different? Nobody knows exactly what he's talking about, but if there's a calm before the storm, then that means he knows there's some kind of storm coming. Alrighty, India. This is like really strange. In the Kashmir area, there has been braid chopping going on. So about 200 women have, while they're sleeping or while they're doing something, like sweeping and doing household chores, someone comes along and chops the braid of their hair off, and they cannot figure out who was doing this. There is also some speculation that some of the women might be mentally ill and chopping their own hair off and saying that somebody did it, but I think there's too many incidents of it happening that it would all be that, even if some cases are like that, and that could just be an excuse not to deal with the problem by the authorities. So yeah, weird going on in India. Also in India, their top court has made a ruling that having sex with a woman who's under 18 is rape. And this is in relating to child brides, because a lot of people, they'll marry someone very young and then say because it's their wife, they get to have sex with her, even though she's a child. So they're making progress in India. All right, in Thailand, they have set a date for a general election, November of 2018, so they've got a year to prepare for that. And also this week they celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the death of their beloved king. Would you pay $12,000 for a cigar? Not only a cigar, but a half-smoked cigar? Well, somebody did. It was Winston Churchill's half-smoked cigar. And finally, in our international headlines, in Utah, they had a corn maze set up for the harvest, time, with pumpkins and Halloween coming up and all of that. So they had a corn maze, corn stalks that have a maze, and you go in and you get lost and you have fun. Well, this one family left. They went and they left and they went home. And the next morning, they called the police to report their 3-year-old son was missing. Yeah, they left their 3-year-old son behind in the corn maze. Turns out that they were a very large multiple family, which means polygamous. Even though the news story didn't come out and say that. I've lived in Utah, so I understand. I understand the innuendo. All right, moving to local news. Oh wait, before we move to local news, let's have our coffee break, because I have an amazing croissant here from Instant Tea. Yes, indeed, Instant Tea Cafe and Restaurant. It's about halfway between Wat Phnom and the Spian Choi Chung Var, the Japanese bridge or the Chinese bridge. So be sure to check out Instant Tea, because they are amazing. All right, coffee break. Welcome back to Deconstructed. Be sure to visit Instant Tea Cafe and Restaurant. They are amazing. Not only like coffee and bakery, but they're a full restaurant with an amazing menu. So be sure to check them out. Alrighty. Make sure you tell them that the Maven sent you as well. You know. Okay, local news, headlines. Just got a few for you, and then we'll get into our commentary. First up, Bokor Mountain. There have been fees to go up the mountain, to go on the road up the mountain, and now, as of October 15th, it will be free. No more road fee. So go up and enjoy. It's so cool. It's like being in the clouds because of the way the fog and the clouds are up on top of the mountain. It's absolutely beautiful. Also, a Belgian honor called the Dr. Guislen Award was given to Sotira Chim for his work with a program called Operation Unchain. And his job is with the TPO, Transcultural Psychosocial Organization, working with mentally ill people. And in Cambodia, it's very unfortunate, especially out in the countryside, that when someone is extremely mentally ill and they're possibly a danger to themselves or others, the only way they know how to deal with it is to chain them to someplace in the house. And sometimes they chain them like in the yard or in a cage. So it's a serious situation, and so congratulations to Sotira Chim for helping address this situation with Operation Unchain and the Belgian award, the Dr. Guislen Award. Yeah, and okay, you know that sometimes people cross the Thai border from Cambodia into Thailand. Maybe they're going as a migrant worker, maybe they're doing illegal logging. Well, 2 Cambodians got shot, they say with an air rifle, so not with a very large bullet, and they're in the hospital in Thailand. They were shot on the Thai side of the border. What for? In their words, they were chasing a pangolin. The endangered species pangolin. You know, I'm sorry, but maybe what happened was meant to happen, because you shouldn't be chasing pangolins. They're endangered. Enough said about it. All right. Finally, for our local news, the National Assembly has passed a law. They're calling it the anti-dumping law. Basically, it's addressing the gray market in Cambodia. The black market is outright illegal goods. Gray market is legal goods, but brought into the country illegally. So technology items, food items like rice, pork, and veggies, vegetables are coming in from mainly Vietnam and Thailand. And a lot of times things may be counterfeit because there's no control on them entering the country, as well as expired when it comes to food and medicines. You know, so they're starting to crack down on this, and they've passed a law about it. So that's good. All right, so it's time for our deconstructed commentary, and I'm going to talk about ambulances. in particular ambulances in Cambodia. So the Ministry of Health was in the news, and they were making a statement about how the ambulance drivers don't have driver's licenses. Many of them don't have driver's licenses, and they should. And I agree with that. They should. If you're on the road, especially with such a responsibility, I mean, if you're on the road, you should have a driver's license anyway. But if you have that kind of responsibility of driving an ambulance, you should definitely not only have a driver's license, but have some special training in your driving as well, because you need to maneuver through the traffic and you need to get to the hospital fast, right? Well, the other criticism was about the speeding of the ambulances. I mean, that's almost like an oxymoron, a speeding ambulance. By nature of being an ambulance, they're speeding to get the injured person to the hospital. Now, in every country around the world, you have a situation where when an ambulance is going through a red light in an intersection, or when they have to cross into the oncoming lane of traffic to get around a gridlock where people cannot move out of the way, it's very dangerous, and ambulance drivers are trained to be cautious in that situation. And sometimes there is an accident, rarely ever the ambulance driver's fault, but somebody who has their music on too loud so they don't hear the siren, or someone who's just not paying attention because they're on their cell phone, whatever. I mean, there's a driver error because they're not paying attention to the situation. Otherwise, they would be aware of the ambulance. Okay, so this is a problem, and it's happened, but they're looking at the ambulance drivers who are, quote, speeding to get around the traffic as the problem, and because they don't have driver's licenses. So let's take a look at that situation and think about this, that, yeah, there needs to be a change. People need, and I'll tell you, it's not that people don't know how to get out of the way, because if the gendarmerie are on a motorcycle or in a car that is leading a diplomat envoy or a convoy of such, then they figure out a way to squeeze over. So the drivers in Cambodia know how to do it. They just need to learn that you need to do it for an ambulance, because that person's life is at stake. Alrighty, so that's it for me. I don't actually have a quote for the day, but we've had enough of the show, and so I hope you've enjoyed it. Be sure to follow me, like, share, whichever social media you're on: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope. So I will see you again next week.